of what?
Our average will be 11.5.
Okay, let me try to write that. So we have found our position 4 at 11. Then they said that we must average with the next consecutive value, meaning it's going to be 11. We're going to say, when we're going to average them, we're going to say 11 plus 12, then divided by what? Divided by 2. Ne? Then 11 plus 2 plus 12 equals to 23. Ne? Equals to 23 divided by 2. Then 23 divided by 2 is equivalent to 11,5. 11,5. So this is our median, meaning we'll be done with our median. I hope you're all following, right? Because now I want to pass. Do you all understand? If I don't get any response, meaning you all understand. Okay, thank you. So if it was the odd number, our any if it was odd number, then our position we're going to find it with using this formula. So in this one, we don't have to average the next the data value with the next consecutive value. The position that we will be getting when it's odd number, we're just going to determine the value. Okay, do you know the reason why they don't average it is because if you can check, let's say check this data set again. Let's say we were not having 20 here, né? And then you were calculating n plus 1 divided by 2, and n plus 1 will be what? Will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's say our values will be here, and 7 is odd number, okay? Meaning we were forced to use the formula which says n plus 1 divided by 2. Our n will be 7 plus 1, which is 8, divided by 2 will be 4. Then you go to position number 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You see 11. Our position will be here, né? Which is position 4. Meaning our median will just be 11. We don't have to average it with the next consecutive value. And if you can check this side, we're having 1, 2, 3. We're having 1, 2, 3. Automatically, 11 divides your data set into 2 equal halves. By your look of eyes, if it was this one, né, according to your experience, actually, without even checking the position, you can just look at it. You are just saying 11 is my median because you're going to divide your data set in 2 equal halves. You see, you're going to have 3 values on your left and 3 values on your right. They will be divided by 11 in the middle. But this one of having 2 values, sometimes people can be confused, and someone might write 2 of them like this, and it's wrong. That's why you have to average them and find the exact value. And 11.5 will fall within the two values because, yes, it's in the middle of 11 and 12. You see? So the position is very much important. So with the quartiles, the decimals and the percentiles, that one, those ones you are forced to use the positions. There's no way you can find them without using the positions. Né? So here is just the example as we are using those values that I've just given you. They wanted us to calculate this one, so we're already done. Yeah? So now we move to the non-central location measures. The non-central location measures, we're talking about the quarters, which are 1 over 4. The decimals, which are 10, 1 over 10. And then the percentiles, which are 100, 1 over 100. So we're going to start with the percentiles. The quartiles. These are the non-central location measures that divide an ordered set into quartiles, which divides them into 4 equal parts. Okay, that's why they're represented by 4. So in the quartiles, we're having the lower quartiles, which are represented by Q1. And the Q1 is the lower quartile in your data set. So it is the 25th, né, lower quartile, which identifies that the value data, the data value below which the lower 25th% of the ordered data fall, meaning it shows where our data value it falls at the lower percentage of 25 in the data set. Then secondly, we're having the Q2. Q2 is just straightforward, is the middle quartile. Since it's Q2, it's represented by the 50%, which is the second quartile or the middle quartile. It identifies that the data value which separates the lower 50% of the data value from the upper 50% data value in the ordered sample. Already we are having the lower quartile, which is 25%. Now we're having the middle or the second one. So the middle, it separates the lower quartile and the upper quartile. Whereas the upper quartile is 75%. The lower quartile will be what? Will be 25%. So in other words, we can say that our middle quartile or our second quartile, which is Q2, is a median, because a median is a value which divides your data set into 2 equal halves. Just like what we just calculated. When we're going to interpret, we're going to say that 11,5, it divides our data value, our data value into 2 equal halves. It divides our data set into 2 equal halves. So that's our median. Same applies with the Q2 or the middle quartile. It divides an ordered data set into 2 equal halves. You understand? Lastly, we're having the upper quartile. The upper quartile, it is the third quartile represented by the 75th percent, né? And it identifies that the data value above which the top 25% of the data value it lies. It lies where? In the top 25% of the ordered data value. Okay, that will be our upper quartile. which is Q3. I hope you understand so far. Um, so now we need to know how to compute the quartiles for the ungrouped data. First thing, there's no way you can calculate them without putting your data in ascending order. Secondly, you need to identify the quartile position. Then next you can count the quartile position to find the approximate quartile values. So these are the 3 steps that you need to follow. We cannot find our Q1 without finding the position. So now let's say let me see. Then after finding the position, now we need to find the quartile value formula. The quartile value formula it says AQV which stands for the approximate quartile value. Approximate quartile value that will be from our data set plus the F. The F is the fractional part of the quartile position. The fractional part of the quartile position multiply by into brackets NCV. The NCV is the next consecutive value after the approximate quartile value minus the AQV which still remain our approximate quartile value. So this is your formula that you're going to use when you're going to calculate the quartile value. AQV plus F multiply by open brackets NQV minus NCV minus the AQV. So let's now we are going to find the Q1. When you're going to calculate Q1, you find the position by saying n plus 1 multiply by 0.25. Ne? We're still going to use the very same data set. Okay, so let's say they ask you to calculate Q1. So Q1 is equals to, we are going to say n plus 1 multiplied by what? 0.25, the position. I don't have a calculator on my side, so please assist me with the answers. So your n is what? 2468. Your n is still 8. 8 plus 1. I'm going to say 8 plus 1. Then multiply by 0.25. Then which answer do you get? Equals to Fortunate says she get 2,25. So our answer is gonna be 2,25. Ne? So remember our position for the quartile value, it says A AQV, which is the approximate value, plus F, which is the fractional part of your quartile position, right? Multiply by into the next consecutive value, which is NCV, then subtract by AQV. AQV. Okay. So according to what we get, what is our approximate quartile value there? What is our AQV? You got 2,25 as the position, right? So
Yes.
you can ignore this side, like this after the comma is basically it is your fractional part. So meaning we're going to focus on the the second position, at the second position, meaning our approximate quartile value is what?
It's 5.
Is 5 plus, what is our fractional value?
0.25.
It will be 0,25. So meaning after we got like this is your exact positioning, right? There's no way you can find the position of 2,25. Where are we going to say is your answer? Because now we need to see an approximate quartile value. That's why we are going to say you ignore this fractional part. This is your fractional part, your decimal fraction. Eh? So we're going to check at the second position and 5. Then we'll be left with comma 25. And comma 25 scientifically means it's 0,25. So it represents your fractional part. It will be 0,25, right? Then multiply by into the next consecutive value. After 5, which value comes after? Remember your data set, that's why they say that it must be in ascending order so that you don't make any mistakes. Because imagine if you have started with 20, 15, 13, you won't get the correct answer. Nah? So then the next consecutive value is 7. The next consecutive value is 7. Then you say 7 minus AQV is still 5. What answer do you get?
It's 5.5.
Oh, guys, you're making noise that side. Please mute your mic and answer your phone.
Uh-uh.
Answer will be 5.5.
What?
The
Yeah.
answer is 5.5.
I can't hear you.
The answer is 5.5.
Okay, 5,5. So this will be our what? our quartile value, right? You guys are making noise, and I ask you to mute your mic that side. Okay, so we managed to get our quartile value. Yeah. So let me check. Sorry. So for Q2, you are just going to do the very same thing. You'll find the n plus 1 multiplied by 0, 0,50 because this one is the middle value. It's more like a median. That's why we're using 0, 0,50 because it divides our data set into two equal halves. For Q3, you're just going to also say n plus 1. Then here you just multiply it by 0, 0,75 position. Is it difficult for you to do them, the Q2 and Q3, after what we have done with the Q1? Is it
No,
going to be a problem?
it won't be a problem.
Thank you. Others, what are you saying before we pass? Because it might be that some they don't understand, so I don't want to disadvantage them. So can you please confirm if you can move on, you understand? Because I believe if we manage to calculate the Q1, Q2, you just the only thing that changes is the position, and the position we're talking about those 0, 0,50, 0, 0,75. The quartile value, we're just going to use the very same formula of AQV plus F multiplied by NCV minus AQV. We're just going to use the very same things. So if I don't get any response, meaning everyone is okay, then we're just going to pass. This was just a classwork activity. As we were using our own data set, right? So you see here, they also ask how to calculate the first quarter, second quarter, and the third quarter using that data set. So these are the examples that you, in your own time, you can calculate them. Yeah? You can do them at your own time. Guys, the meeting will end soon in 10 minutes. So please rejoin again for the last time. So the next 40 minutes, then I believe that's when we're going to stop. For the third 40 minutes, we're going to stop our session. So right now, if it kicks you out, please rejoin again for the last time. Yeah. So now we're moving to the percentiles. A percentile is a data value which specifies percent of a data in an ordered data set will fall. Quartiles are also the examples of the specified percentiles. The lower or the first quartile is 25th percentile. The median or the middle value is the 50th percentile. The upper quartile is the 75th percentile. We already talked about that in the previous examples. So with the percentiles, we're going to say APV. Remember, in the quartiles, we're saying the AQV because the Q represents the quartiles. But in this case, since you're talking about the percentiles, we say the APV. The only change is in the P and the Q, right? So meaning with the decile, we're going to say ADV because we're dealing with the deciles. So in this case, we're going to say APV, which represents the percentile, plus the F. The F is still the same, the fractional part of the percentile position, né? Minus, into NCV is still the same, the next consecutive value, minus the APV, also still the approximate percentile value. So this is how we're going to find the positioning. But you will be guided by what you are asked to calculate. Okay. You must always listen to your statement and understand what they ask you to calculate. Let's say they say you must calculate the 90th percentile. The 90th percentile is found by n plus 1 multiplied by 90th percentile because it's percentile, which is 100. We're going to say 90 divided by 100. That's why you get 0.9. For the 38th percentile, we will get 0.38 because it's 38 divided by 100. For the 16th percentile, we're going to say 16 divided by 100. That's why we're going to get 0.16. You understand? So this is the class example. They ask us to compute the following. So let's try doing it together using our very same data set. Sorry. Um, let's say we are asked to calculate the 10th percentile. They ask you to calculate the 10th per the 10th percentile is denoted by what? The position. Firstly, we need to determine the position, right? It's going to be n plus 1. It's going to be n plus 1. So since they ask us to calculate the 10th percentile, mean it's going to be what? 10 divided by 100, né? Because they said it's 10 percentile, meaning it's going to be 0.1. Okay? So what we're going to do is that we're going to say the n. N is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Our n is 8 plus 1, which is 9. Then you say 9 multiplied by what? 9 multiplied by 0.1 is how much? What is 9 multiplied by 0.1?
0.9.
It's 0.9. 0.9, right? So with our percentile value, né? We're going to say the APV, right? Now we are dealing with the percentile plus the F, which is the fractional part of the percentile position, multiply by into the NCV, which is the next consecutive value, minus what? Minus the APV. Né? So the APV is the approximate percentile value. So looking at our position, we're having 0.9. So how are we going to expect to get the position at 0? There's no position at 0. So there's no way we can find a value which is at position number 0, meaning our approximate percentile value will be 0. We're going to write 0 here, right? Then you say plus our fractional part, which is comma 9. It is the same as 0, 9 multiply by, since we didn't have the approximate percentile value, there's no way we can have the next consecutive value, meaning it's gonna be what? It's gonna be 0, right? It's gonna be 0 minus 0. So how much do you get? How much do you get, guys?
It's you.
You get 0, right?
Yes.
So you see, because of our positioning, we got 0. So there's no way we can have the approximate percentile value at position 0. So we'll be forced to get 0 as our answer. Okay, so let's try this one of, let me see, this one of 80th percentile.